Hello, everybody. Doing a live on StreamYard, and I'm switching on my glasses. I never know. I wear different glasses, and I'm just like, the problem is I need anti glare because you can't see my eyes. So, whatever, it doesn't matter. Details, details. Here I am, and I thought I would come on and talk about the politics of the day. And if anyone has any questions um, that they would like to have answered with cards, intuitive guidance, all that stuff, I'm here. I can do that. I'm happy to serve. I'm your humble servant. um, and here I am in my library. I grew up in a library after my parents divorced when I was, I don't know, kindergarten, first grade. Um, the my mom had to get a job, and she, in our small town in Kansas, found a job at this little library. You couldn't even barely call it a library. It was some old one of those Western stores in the main strip of town, right by the railroad tracks in this dusty Kansas town. And my mother worked at the library, and for all intended purposes was the librarian, but also the multi-service coordinator, and would hand out food to people in need. And the ironic thing was, we were the ones who ended up eating some of it too. She would bring home government cheese and powdered milk and all that. And she would take IOUs from the money box in the office. I remember her telling me about that. Um, when she didn't have enough money between paychecks, and Lord, do I know that feeling, um, she would dip from the money at work and write an IOU, $70, it would say. And then off we go to the store in town, our little one of those little IGAs or whatever it was, Apple. No, it became an Apple Market, but it was like, an IGA. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Um, Up the road in the bigger town was what do we have? Food Mart, Food Barn. We had Gibson's. We had Alco. Yes, this is aging me. But part of the lore, see, I'm going to mess with my hair a lot. I feel like I need to cut my bangs a little bit. See, you'll see me do this a lot. Yes, just cut your bangs, Amy. But the problem is they look good on camera, but then in real life, I look funky. Really, I look like, I look like John Lennon, the female version of John Lennon. I'm very aware of that, which is probably, what can I do? Um, Probably if I didn't wear any makeup, I could just be a guy and walk around. And of course, I have boobies and all that stuff. But um, sometimes I wish I was a man. It'd be so much easier. Anyway, it is funny to kind of look like John, but be a female. It's a weird sensation. Anyway, such a great video, but political. Okay, I'll tell you more about my life. But I wanted to come on and talk about how, with the full moon, I'm feeling some funky, funky town energies in the world. I mean, like really funky town. And I've talked before about how sometimes you wake up and everything's going great. The trial, like Spirit telling me the trial was going to end this Thursday. And there's even like this big psychic on YouTube that does his Sunday show. I won't say his name because it's not nice. Although I'm saying nice things about him. But he, too, his predictions are pretty good. And after I'd made my prediction several times that the trial should end this Thursday, and I predicted that 45 probably would not go on the stand. If he did, it would be yesterday. He didn't do it, obviously, because he would perjure himself. And I said that the trial should wrap up by this Thursday. It would be that fast. Wah, wah. This psychic said the same thing, too, on his Sunday show, and he's very accurate. He said wrapped up. So that doesn't mean ended or jury verdict. He was smart. I should be like that. I shouldn't say the trial will be over. The jury will, I should just say wrapped up. That way you're not saying it's over and ended. Anyway, I was wrong, clearly wrong, because Judge Merchan is making them wait till next week after Memorial Day for not just the jury and the jury instructions, but for the prosecutorial team, the last, what do you call it? The summation. And then, the jury. So next Thursday. So when Spirit told me Thursday, they must have meant next Thursday. Very frustrating as an intuitive, but whatever, as long as there's a verdict. Now, so I say that, and then, everything's hunky dory. I felt like it was going to wrap up, be done, completed, completely signed on the dotted line this Thursday. But what happened was something happened in the universe, and I feel like something flipped. And I don't know if you guys are feeling that. It's almost like everything that we'd been manifesting flipped, and I feel like it happened on Sunday. Anything I manifested on Sunday went the complete opposite. Now, call me strange, call me crazy, but I feel like there is something out there, the dark side of the universe, I feel like, and I keep seeing Elon Musk when I say this, so whatever. See, I have this theory that Elon Musk, uh, all his Starlink satellites and stuff, his AI and algorithms, I feel like it actually messes with manifestations, but I'm probably wrong and crazy on that. But it's just a theory that I have. Um, so when we're like manifesting, he's like got a little switch and he reverses all our little manifestations. But no, the ultimate power is God and the divine and the angels and our co-creative power. So we can't fall into that trap. The full moon makes everything more intense. Everybody's crazy. Today was crazy. So my point is, everything kind of flipped. I felt like on Sunday, everything flipped. And everything that was supposed to happen with the trial this week kind of went backwards. And now we have where, uh, who knows? Who knows what will happen? Who knows if what the jury's going to say? But let me go through some of the news, though. So if anybody comes, there's nobody here, nobody. So I guess you'll have to ask in the after video and the replay. But let me go through some things that I found and may have already put on my community page. And then I'll go through some what I think's happening, what will happen. Okay. And I spent all morning arguing with far right MAGA trolls on Threads, which is like the new Twitter, the good Twitter. And my God, it was crazy. I could read you some of their replies, but I may get banned on YouTube for some of the horrible things they said. But they really tried to gaslight me into believing that 45 has done nothing wrong and it's all Stormy Daniels' fault, and she should be prosecuted because she's a prostitute and she charged for sex, and she's the one who's going to be prosecuted and sent to jail, and he's innocent, and all of this is innocent. So then I went and I said a key trigger term for MAGA people, and I said, what news channel do you watch? Do you watch, I said, be honest, and it's okay, be honest. Do you watch Fox News? Oh my God, that triggered them so bad, and they got so mad at me. It was, and then that person who went off on me and called me libtard and all that stuff, and they went psycho. I didn't do anything. I didn't report them. I just kept calm. I didn't say anything rude. They, like, all their posts disappeared. So I think Threads got rid of them, but a whole bunch of other far right trolls came in. They're still okay. So anyway, one of the most interesting things that came out yesterday, I think, was when Cohen said, and I'll read this. Cohen said that the payment that he'd received, remember, he kind of said he had taken money, but it was money that was really owed to him. Cohen said the payment was part of a scheme to rig a poll. Keep that term in your mind, rig a poll, and inflate Mr. Trump's position in a survey of influential businessmen. He allegedly handed over $20,000 in a brown paper bag to the head of Redfinch, a tech company. So this would be 2016, at the behest of his employer, 45, to ensure he would rise significantly in the rankings, in the polls. Now, I always felt in 2016 that the polls were boosted and fake polls, because I would see something weird with 45. I would see when he was really schmoozing the world and things look bad, and kind of like how we feel right now today with this full moon weird energy. I noticed that. Hi, Fatima, blessings to you. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer anything that you want. I'll be on here for probably about 45 minutes today. So This is kind of like anything that comes out live. And mind you, my allergies are bad. So if you see me itching my eyes or my nose is stuffy, that's why. But yeah, in 2016, with the you know what, the election, that's a trigger term for YouTube. Um, I saw the number 44. 45 would come out and it would say 44, 44, 44. And then Hillary would start to drop. And I would think, and this is psychically, I would think, uh-oh, they're messing with the polls again. Something's weird. Um, and that was probably part of with Michael Cohen, that he now admits he inflated the polls at the request of and under the orders and for the benefit of Donald Trump. Michael Cohen did this. Um, Michael Cohen was 45, Trump's new, just say his name, whatever Trump, his new Ray Cohn, who was his, mob style lawyer, henchman. Michael Cohen was supposed to replace him. And for all good intended purposes, Michael Cohen did that job. And as I've said, when people talk about that they don't like Michael Cohen because of blah, 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 when I'm like, well, I feel he's reformed. And if anyone's going to take down 45, it's Michael Cohen, because energy matches energy. So we need someone like Michael Cohen to take down 45. And you say, well, if you want to take down 45, I'm still hearing all these MAGA people in my head, because he's a criminal. And as you know, Spirit told me he's a criminal usurper president. They told me that very clearly, which I already knew. But when they told me that, it was a great confirmation. It's like, oh, yes, thank you for saying that you agree with me. So you need Michael Cohen. Now 45 has all these other people to inflate the polls. Who else is he using? Jared Kushner. Who's around 45 who works for him now, because Michael Cohen clearly doesn't work for 45 anymore. Giuliani's in trouble though. Bannon. I mean, he has his lawyers. He has Lena Haba. Who knows? Who is it who's always at Mar-a-Lago getting benefits? It's those people. Now we have Lara Trump. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was these people doing what Michael Cohen used to do. It's my son's bed back here. What a mess. It's not his fault though. Look, it's summer. So whatever, his bed's going to be a mess. And Kjaran's right here, by the way. Yeah, I'm guessing that it's Lara Trump now and Alina Habba. And then we have the sons. We have, especially Eric Trump, doing the bidding of Daddy and Boss Man 45. We could call him Boss Hog, like from the Dukes of Hazzard. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll start calling 45 Boss Hog. But I think they're the ones, and I keep seeing Lara Trump. She's probably the one who's now inflating the polls, because we know the polls aren't right. And here's why 45 wants those polls to say he's winning all the time when he's clearly not. Because then when he loses, he can say, but the poll said I was winning, so therefore the election is fake. And this is blah, blah, just like he did in 2020. He wants to use those polls as fodder to say, I was winning and you stole it from me. This is a fake election for entertainment purposes only. That's why he wants the polls to be inflated. He's counting on this the entire time. You'll see it the entire time. But if they can track down who is paying to have these fake polls boosted and reported, Lara Trump, Alina Habba, Eric Trump, we can nip it in the bud. You see what I mean? Okay, so now we have Fatima, beautiful Fatima. You know you can't change some people's minds. Some will change and some won't. And I found out today exactly. It was useless. I literally spent, 2 hours with my coffee fighting off these MAGA. One particular, his name was Larry. Larry. It's always a Larry, isn't it? I dated a Larry once. And when he couldn't, every time I'd provide evidence and articles and facts and all, and then I was like, it doesn't even matter to us. It's the jury. The jury has the evidence. The jury will decide. And he was like, you stupid libtards, go watch TV. You're desperate. Somebody else used those same exact terms. Go watch TV, libtard, you're desperate, last week with a different argument. And then after Larry disappeared, and I could never convince him of anything. And like I said, when I brought up Fox News, he really went insane. And then magically disappeared. But another MAGA person showed up and they started to call me desperate and to watch TV. So it's a weird thing. They all parrot the same phrasing. When they can't, you cannot, like you said, Fatima, you cannot convince them. There's no way to convince a MAGA person. There's no way. Even we have today with Judge Cannon and that she's holding there's a hearing to see if this case, the documents case, could be dismissed. Walt Nauta is there asking to have him dismissed from the case and everything. And there's literally a video showing him moving boxes at Mar-a-Lago. So we have these new reports that they literally are on security camera moving boxes from Mar-a-Lago, and Walt Nauta was the one doing it. So I highly doubt that he should have his case dismissed, but you never know. Like I said, everything feels backwards today. So yeah, these people, they see video evidence, but they don't look. That's the thing. They don't look. It's like they live in that world and they just can't see the truth or accept the truth. So they keep calling me a liar. I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I wasted 2 hours. I really did. And they're still all over my page. They really are. I do not believe the polls never did exactly. Although I will say, and this makes me sound, one-sided, but when they say that Biden's ahead, President Biden, I think, aha, that's probably a true poll, because that's what I feel like intuitively. I feel like Biden is ahead. And here's something that I got today, a psychic hit I got today. You know how at this trial with 45 saying outside in the hallway with the camera and that little, it's like the petting zoo where the animals are stuck behind the little fence, and he's like, the police are keeping my voters away. They're keeping my supporters away. There's literally like 3 people out there, and even the various reporters have gone out to look and see if the cops are keeping 40, his people, his fans or what have you away. I want to say MAGA people. They're not seeing any. They're not seeing cops pushing off voters, 45 supporters. So I feel like that's why 45 is bringing in his red tie brigade. One of the big reasons, because he has no supporters. He has no one there to fight for him and make him look like he's the victim, because he wants to be the victim. So he is bringing in his own supporters. He's trucking in his red tie brigade because he's like, oh my God, there's no supporters out here. That's why he's bringing them in to intimidate the judge and the jury, and because he literally has no supporters outside calling his name. So the polls, when he says the polls say that I'm winning, you're clearly not. You're clearly not. So yeah. Okay. Any questions? I'll answer any questions. And in the meantime, I will read some of the articles that I got here, because there's a lot going on. Fani Willis won the primary in her district. So that's wonderful and a very good sign. Of course, we knew she would. We knew it. Let's see. So that's really good. Hold on to the positive things, right? Not the negatives. I'm in Canada, and my sister-in-law stated a conversation with me. She also likes Trump. Oh no. I told her, are you serious? What news you watch? She did not say it. I bet you she watched. Did they get Fox News in Canada? I bet you they do. Or Newsmax. Yeah, I'm sorry, Fatima. It's, who knows why people support 45. It could be what they feel is that he holds religion and the sanctity of marriage and the whole abortion issue. It very well could be that. It could be about money. I don't know why. Oh, and she said CNN was fake news. There you go. Well, I'll say this. CNN is not as trustworthy as it used to be. Like in 2020, I felt they were very liberal and Democrat, or just, well, let's admit it. CNN seemed to be very Democratic for a while, and then they got bought out, and now they're like, I probably would rather watch MSNBC. But so she's a little right, but not, obviously. Fake news. Here's the thing. To me, fake news is outright lies, like the National Enquirer. That would be fake news. Most news stations, they tell the truth, but they choose what to report. So you can't call it fake news. So when someone says fake news, I know that that's a person who is a Trump supporter, because there really is no fake news. There's selective reporting. But I don't believe that there's fake news out there except for the National Enquirer. Um, they're sensational. So yeah, fake news is a trigger term for me. When I hear people say it, I'm like, I think we have a Trump supporter. It's like, okay, now I know what I'm dealing with. But Fatima, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. That's frustrating. Yeah. And then I said to her, no wonder news report what they choose. Yeah, they choose to report. Yeah, she probably watches Fox, sadly. Um, when I was married, um, my in-laws would always have Fox News on in their small town. A lot of small towns in Kansas are very Republican, and I think it's because of the religious issue, and also because they don't get a lot of mainstream news out there, and they don't get on the radio. They get a lot of religious. You notice when you travel out in the country and you're in your car and you go from an urban area and you get all these cool stations, and then you get out to the country, especially here in the Midwest, and it's friggin' country music and like Baptist preachers screaming, evangelical. That's all they get. So in a way, I feel like a lot of these small communities, not just in America, but surrounding Canada too, it is a propaganda tool mixed with religion, and that um, domination of religion to hold people down and keep them from seeking truth. And what and so they hit that. Yeah, Fox News is that propaganda channel that's allowed. It's weird. The TVs, I noticed this on these smart TVs that they have now, and they have free channels. Well, they have like some free music. I used to have like an 80s music channel I would put on. It was free. And there's a nature channel I put on for the cats. It's like on all the time. But the news channels that are free are not not liberal, but Newsmax, OAN, and probably some Fox and maybe snippets of CNN. But Newsmax is like one of the major ones that they promote. So people are getting these smart TVs. Maybe this was like a plan, because you know how smart TVs have now replaced. They were all over Walmarts, all over the place, all over America. That I'm in America, so I can only say for America. But in 2020 and yeah, 2020, all of a sudden, the Walmarts were filled with these smart TVs. Get rid of your old TV. Nobody uses old TVs anymore, and old TVs would have hookups for VCRs and your satellite box, right, and all that stuff. So lots of independent, what you want to watch, very independent. Now, everybody's getting this cool, I gotta get a smart TV so I can watch YouTube on my smart TV, and I can get Netflix and I can get Prime and all this stuff. But what you don't realize also is that now these people out in these small communities, they're watching what they're given. And what were they given on all those smart TVs? Republican far right channels for free. So it's free propaganda to brainwash them. So I do wonder if things like that were planned by people like 45 and the agenda, the right wing agenda, which there is an agenda to keep them all brainwashed. So yeah, there should be a law, and I know they've tried to hold Fox News accountable, but it's just so hard, isn't it? And they just yell at each other. Like I said, when I would go to my in-laws' house, they would have Fox News on really loud, and I would be like, okay, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give them a chance. And I'd watch, and they would say, okay, so here's a nice story about Obama. It was like at the time when Obama was still president. Lord help us. I wish that I missed those days, right? Obama was president. Here's Obama and his wife. They just got off the Air Force One. And now let's have it. We're going to talk about Obama's military spending. And then they would have, I sound like Monty Python. And then they would have the pro-right Republican voice. And then they would bring in some poor sucker liberal person and fight, 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 fight. No point was ever agreed upon. No point was ever heard by the public watching. It was just them interrupting each other the entire time. And I would go, God, this is so chaotic. I hate this. I don't even know what the point of the interview was, because they just argued the entire time. And it was like all day. It was like that. So even in Canada, there's a lot of crazy. I've heard that it's gotten worse. We've spread. We're the rotten apples who have spread across the world, unfortunately. Too much control. Even in religion, I am Catholic, but I am open to everyone in other religions. Me too. I was raised Catholic. I agree with that, Fatima. And you know what's funny? I feel like the Catholics that I grew up with, most of them are the ones who we would go to church and we would, cleanse ourselves every Sunday, right? And you'd feel good. You'd feel cleansed. And then, and the church would say, no, don't do this and don't do that. And you'd go and you'd be like, but it's okay. It's okay if I do it for a good cause. Like, if I lie and tell someone that that outfit's okay, I did it because I actually care about them. Karen wants out. Go ahead. Go up. Was that you, Julia? Whoops. Anyway, welcome to my chaotic house. So I feel like Catholics, we're actually, most of us are very sort of like, okay, well, I'll go out and I'll be a good human being. And if I have to do something, it's okay. The church will forgive me. I'll go to confession. God will forgive me. But other religions, they keep people in the dark. Memorize that psalm. Memorize that Bible verse. You got to do this. Women, and I've noticed that women in certain churches have to look a certain way. And in Catholic religion, you kind of are still very independent. You use your religion and your relationship with God in a way that is almost like your own spiritual journey, which is what it should be. It's what it should be. If they would just stop with this abortion crap and the no birth control crap, and let women be priests, it would change everything. It would change everything. Because I do like aspects of the Catholic religion. Yeah. All religions have good and bad. I take the good and leave the bad behind. Yeah, I do too. Because I've always said that every religion out there is like a course in the college of life. And we are meant on earth to learn. We're learning. We're here to learn. And the problem with a lot of churches is they say, don't learn anything. Stay in the dark. Stay here. I'm the preacher. I'm going to tell you everything you can think, feel, do. And don't ever reach beyond that. And guilt. And if you do anything bad, you can even get kicked out of the church and shunned. You know what I mean? So that's very cultish. But all religions should be a college course towards your spirituality, to all that is in the divine and your higher self and everything. Because even on the other side, we're learning. Religion should teach you things, not keep you in the dark. And there's that woke word. To be awake means to be learning and willing to learn. Yeah. Very true. Yeah. The worst part of the Catholic Church, obviously, is that they're still holding women down in certain ways, and then the priest. I'll tell you a story, Fatima. I may have told you this before, but growing up Catholic, first my father, when my dad and mom were together, very bad situation. My dad was in a cult. It was a cult, and it was a very scary time in my life. As a child, and I've told you how it inhibited me greatly, and I still suffer. I had to hide a lot. And I watched him later on almost kill my stepbrother when he got remarried and they had a child, a baby. My dad literally almost killed the baby in front of me and my brother and sister when we were having a visitation, like a weekend visit, which was the last one we ever had. My dad was in a cult, and see, he used his religion to verify his anger and control issues. And I feel like, yeah, after they got divorced, then it was the Catholic Church, full on, my mother in the Catholic Church. But because she'd gotten divorced, she never felt like she was completely accepted ever again, which is sad. But she still went to communion and confession. And my brother, sister, and I had communion, and we had a confirmation. I went to classes for all of that stuff. So I had all the sacraments and everything. And my brother, okay, so when my brother was high school age, my mother sent him to a private boys Catholic high school called a seminary, is what they're called, St. Meinrad. No, wait, that was the college. He went to the high school up in Kansas City for it was a seminary, all boys seminary. They did have female nuns that were teachers. So there was monks. We'd go visit, and there's that smell of the holy water and the incense, um, and he had a lot of fun. And my mother would drive out like over an hour on a Friday night to pick him up, and I would sit in the back seat of her car, reading like Gone with the Wind or whatever book I had with the flashlight. This pre-internet, and and then he would come home for the weekend. He'd come home for holidays and summer, obviously. And then on Sunday night, she'd drive all the way back. And like in the winter, we'd be driving back home in the dark of night. So my mother put a lot into this. My brother being in a seminary now, he graduated and then he went to Indiana at St. Meinrad Catholic school. And it was paid for. Um, his scholarship was paid for, and he had dorm and food and all of that. And he learned all the theology, and the monks ran the school. Again, the smell of the holy water and the incense and the sight of the monks in their brown capes walking silently across the beautifully kept grounds of St. Meinrad and the church and the stone and all that. Still have that in my mind. But then my brother did not want to become a priest. The whole thing was to turn him into a priest. And he decided that wasn't for him. So I'm very, I almost, there's a book that I want to write called Growing Up Catholic, because I saw a lot of, the only thing I didn't have was I personally did not go to Catholic school as a child. We went to the Catholic church that had the school, and then went to Catholic classes on Wednesday nights and all that stuff. But I did not I went to a public school. So I didn't do the morning masses every day of my life and all that stuff. Thank God. I'm too impatient to sit through a mass every day of my life. So anyway, but I loved reading about this, the apostles and Jesus and all of that. Jesus is my favorite part of the Bible, and the only part that I really will ever read, because Jesus was love. I feel like Jesus was a real man, a real person, but I also feel like he's an ascended master too. And there's many Jesus figures in the world, that in all religions. So being a priest is a choice you make, yes. And my brother his best friend became a priest. His best friend from school became a priest. See, but what also, yes, you have to be very committed, because you're giving your entire life. And you could get sent to Africa. You could get sent to, like really poor town, somewhere in California or whatnot. And because that's, have you ever seen the movie? There's this beautiful movie with Patrick Swayze, and it's called City of Gold. And I don't think it has anything to do with Catholic, but it's about, he was a surgeon who, I think his son died, and then he had a patient who died. He's a doctor, surgeon. And so they put him on a sabbatical, and they sent him to India because he's just depressed. And then he meets a missionary woman, and that's why I think it's probably Catholic. It felt like a Catholic movie. And there's all these poor Indian people there, and he's just kind of like over it all. But he becomes best friends with a man in India and his very poor family. And the man sells blood to take care of his family, and soon becomes anemic and sick. And Patrick Swayze has to become a doctor again. He didn't want to be a doctor anymore, but the missionary lady, the lady who played Shirley Valentine. I don't know if you've seen that movie. The sister of Joan Collins, that actress. Okay, well, anyway, she says, you have to do this. You have to do this. This is your choice in life. Your gift in life is to give yourself to others and to heal people. And so he breaks down, and he helps this man and their community, because what's happening, and this is very Trump-like, the kingpin in town is diverting all the money, and he has a mob of people who are like, they'll do things like, I'll give you a loan, we'll give you a loan if you yada yada yada, and then of course you miss a payment or whatnot, and then they own you. And this whole community is owned by this kingpin mob with his flying monkeys everywhere. And then Patrick Swayze is the catalyst who helps the community fight back against this guy, this very Trump-like guy. Very interesting movie called City of Gold. Go watch it. It's one of those where you're changed. And speaking of Patrick Swayze, he always played the downtrodden outsider guy who was very misunderstood, judged, sometimes hated. Like even in Roadhouse, he's this guy, right? And but he's the guy who changes the entire town and society with his heart. That's the only way I can say it. Patrick Swayze definitely was an angel on earth, and there was a light about him, and I feel like he's in the angelic realm as a light, light worker in the heart squad, as they say. Patrick Swayze was a catalyst of light and change. And even the movie Ghost, he was that person who I almost want to cry. Yeah. Yes, please look for it. It's a beautiful movie, and very meaningful. And I saw it, like, I think as a teenager. I don't know. No, I think I was 19 when I saw it. So, and it changed me. It really did. And it was a time when I was having my big ascension and all that. And I thought, this is a very meaningful movie. And okay, think about Dirty Dancing. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen Dirty Dancing, but when that movie came out, yes, I'm old enough to know when that movie came out, but that movie came out, and I didn't want to see it. I was a kid. Okay. I was a kid. And I remember thinking, well, that sounds like a stupid movie. Shallow, stupid, just a whole bunch of, because the way they marketed the movie made it look like just some teenagers in hot pants dancing around with popular music. And I was like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to, I've always been a very deep person, you know what I mean? But then when I saw it later on, when it came out on probably video, VHS, for all you young people, video cassette, and Dosh Garnett, as I say, Dosh Garnett, I watched that movie and I thought, this is one of the most honest to goodness, decent movies I've seen. The way that Jennifer, what's her name? We know, I think Jennifer Hewitt is not Jennifer Hewitt. You know who I'm talking about. She plays the girl, Baby, and a Jewish socialite with her rich family that go to this. It was a real, like in the Catskills of New York, a summer place with dancing and, the little huts they would live in up on the hills, and like a country club. Baby, her Jewish family, and her father is a surgeon, a doctor, and she meets the dancer Patrick Swayze, and you've probably seen the movie, so I'm explaining something you already know. But I saw it, and like the setting of the 60s, and how her heart, she hadn't displaced herself. Her heart wasn't corrupted, and his heart wasn't corrupted. He was bitter, Patrick Swayze, but his heart was still intact, is what I'll say. And these two meet each other, this unlikely pair, and they fall in love because they both are these beautiful, heartfelt, deep, down-to-earth people who care about society and care about other people and do selfless things for other people. So that's another one of those movies where I saw it and I was like, wow, that movie has so much meaning, and what a beautiful movie. Plus it's a fun movie, and her name will come to me, Jennifer. But that's another movie where Patrick Swayze was the downtrodden outsider, rebel, bad guy who changes everyone. He literally changed. And so the end of the movie, he's changed everyone. I just think that's so beautiful. And that's what Patrick Swayze would always do. Ghost, he did the same thing. He had to die in the movie, but then he ends up, through his selfless acts, on the other side, transforms everyone and brings everyone to a place of understanding. And I just think, wow, he did that in every movie. Patrick Swayze did that in every movie. It's beautiful. So, okay, back to politics because I went way off, and I'm going to end the stream in about maybe 15 minutes. So, okay, so more documents found at Mar-a-Lago. And remember, Spirit said to me, they told me when Mar-a-Lago was going to get searched, when it was searched in, what, April 10th? What, a couple of years ago? Was it? It was a couple of years ago. Yes, I love Patrick Swayze. Love him. I need to watch anything I haven't watched of his. I should watch it because, yeah, good, great actor. Um, okay, so the document. Spirit said to me, Mar-a-Lago, and I saw it. They showed me, it was like movie scenes on my head, and they said Mar-a-Lago is going to get raided. And I said that several times. And then I was doing, I don't know, I was doing an online class, and I looked on my phone during the class or something, and it said Mar-a-Lago raided. And I was like, oh shit. And it was the time when YouTube had banned me from posting videos because I said something they didn't like, something like about the election. I got banned for a week. They put me in jail. And I literally, the only one who said that Mar-a-Lago would get raided, and I said it over and over again. Spirit showing me Mar-a-Lago is going to get raided, and YouTube banned me when it happened. And I feel that there's something to that, but whatever. But they also said afterwards, they said it will get raided again, but also Trump Tower will get raided. And they did say Bedminster. So this report said that they did search Trump Towers. The FBI did. Oh, no, they asked. They said, we know you still have documents. You have to, and they told Trump's lawyers, you have to go, you have to search again. And that's when they found more of the documents at Mar-a-Lago and Trump Tower. They searched Trump Tower. And here's the thing. So somebody asked last night, did Bedminster get searched? And I was like, let me look it up. Now, I don't know, but I will tell you this. Do you remember the phone call where 45 was on there like, oh, I have this Word document that is top secret, classified, that I have no ability to declassify because I'm not president. You literally said this on tape. I have no ability to declassify this. But look what it says. And it was about Iran or something. And remember the lady was like, ah, and then get us some Diet Coke. The Diet Coke phone call. And so that folder, that file was retrieved, and it's in the hands of Jack Smith. So that tells me that they did search Bedminster because that's where, or it was shifted in one of those shifts that they would move boxes on the Trump airplane and take it down to Mar-a-Lago. It got shifted down to Mar-a-Lago, and then that's where they found it. So in a way, Bedminster did get raided. The only thing that we don't know about is if Ivana's grave was dug up. And honestly, I have to tell you, I don't think there's anything in her grave because they probably moved stuff. If there was anything in there, they probably took them out because they knew they were being watched. With satellites and crap that could look in your, Google Maps can, Google Earth can look in your backyard. So I don't think there's anything in Ivana's grave, and it's not even her grave. They didn't put her ashes in there. Ivanka has her ashes. I don't think they even put the gold casket in there. I think that's why people see gold, because it was a gold casket, but I don't think they even put that in there. I don't think there's anything there. There's nothing there. So they could dig it up just for our sanity, but I think that, yeah. So keep going. And yes, you saw Ghost, a very good one. It is a great movie. That, let me tell you this. That movie tells you everything you need to know about the other side. And it's a great movie for that. If you want to know what it's like for spirits on the other side who are trying to talk to us, and also their development, and those, how they would show the dark figures that would come get the evil guys when the evil guy would pass away. Very scary, but that's kind of what it's like. And it's their own ego, their own karma that created all of that. And Patrick Swayze in the movie was just filled. Remember, he was filled with light. That's what John has shown me from the other side. When I saw that movie, I was like, oh, that's like John. That's what John showed me. So Ghost is almost autobiographical of the other side. It's a very, very good movie, and how spirit talks to us humans. Remember, he pushed the penny across and all that, and how he would jump into Whoopi Goldberg, and um, yeah, very good movie. Um, and he had to complete his mission and everything. I'll tell you something funny about that movie. You know the scene with of course, everybody. What does everybody remember from Ghost? The ceramic scene where she's on the wheel, the pottery wheel, and the music from the Isley Brothers, right? Isn't that who it is? The Isley Brothers. Oh, my love, my darling. So there's this Just for Laughs episode where uh, this guy sets up a ceramic studio in a mall, and he has people like, come on in, I'll teach you how to do ceramics for free. So they sit down, and then he gets behind them as the instructor, and the radio comes on, and they play that song, the um, what is it called? Unchained Melody. That's what it is. And the people are like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. That's one of my favorite videos ever. I'll link it on my channel. The positive and negative energies, yes. And here on earth, we don't see them all the time. We feel them, but there is a positive and negative. There's our shadow and there's our light. And when you pass away, when we all pass away, which we all will, um, we'll see that. That's why I think it's good for people here on earth to work on their spiritual abilities and abilities to protect and use the angelic realm and guides and all that, and our own ability to protect ourselves, because it doesn't end. We don't see the whole idea of when we die, if you're good, you go to heaven and happily ever after. It's not like that, because we're constantly learning. So we're going to go to the other side, and God and the angels. This is what I think happens. You go to the other side, and yes, you're greeted. You have all this joy and bliss, and then it's like, and what did you learn? Because they want what we learned. They want our lessons. They want that. We're here on earth learning so we can help them develop too. So if we go there and say, well, all I did was look at my Bible every day and I avoided everything. They're like, well, you didn't bring us anything. So we're here learning, and then we take it back to them. So we learn how to help them be strong, to be warriors and, protectors and all these things, and wizards and all these. Yeah, yes, there is. Yes, we definitely always will have our dark and our light, our shadow and our light, good, bad. So develop it now, because you're going to need it on the other side too. It's constantly, we're always going to have it. It's just part of our existence. I don't know if you've ever read the book Into the Light by Betty J. Eady. That was a very, well, I feel like Spirit sent me that book at a time in my life. I was, probably 18. I had so much when I was 18. Everything happened to me spiritually to wake me up. And look, I just saw the movie Ghost. I have the movie Ghost over here. That's interesting. Into the Light by Betty J. Eady. Now, she talks about Jesus, and some people don't like that, but I always say, if you don't like the name Jesus, just write love. Replace it with love. But she talks about what it's like on the other side, and I really responded to that book. It taught me a lot, and it was like, oh, I knew all this. I knew this. So that's a beautiful book. If you haven't read it, that's a good one to read. All right, just about 10 more minutes or so. We know Fani Willis has won her primary, so that's great. Well, this is what triggered everybody. I asked about Stormy Daniels. I said, because 45 is still saying, I didn't have any sex with Stormy. And it's like, yes, you did. You did. And these people saying, oh, one person was bold enough to lie to me and tell me that Michael Cohen had sex with Stormy Daniels. And that's why, come on. I wasn't born yesterday. It's just ridiculous. But they really, so my point is, why don't they have her say, why didn't they have her say, here's what his you know what looks like, and you can find out if you take a picture of his you know what. Okay, 45, pull down your pants and let's, because that's what you do in criminal trials and sexual abuse trials and all that stuff. You have to look for a body birthmark or whatnot that is recognizable and can be proven by the victim. They didn't do that. They should have. Well, that triggered up all the trauma. Well, it doesn't have anything to do with sex. It does, because they had sex and because he's lying. The first lie means he's lying about everything else. He's still saying he didn't have sex with her. He didn't know her. I don't know her. He did. He had sex with her. We could ask Melania. She would know. Everyone knows he had sex with her, but still evidence is evidence. And then I got a whole bunch of comments, and then I got like all the MAGA people showed up. But the one that really triggered everyone was, and it has 2,000 likes. I can't even. I have good comments and bad, a lot of bad comments. So if someone wrote, "Amen, Amy, I gotta like that." Could be really. What are these? Oh, they brought up Bill Clinton a whole bunch, and I said, Bill Clinton got impeached, and someone was bold enough to write, "No, he didn't." Yes, he did. Bill Clinton literally got impeached for the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. He wasn't removed from office and sent to jail. Like 45 wasn't removed from office and sent to jail, but he got impeached. He got impeached. They just like forget facts. Having sex with her is not the crime. I know it's not the crime, but he's lying about it. So to show that he's lying about everything else, let's find out if he had sex with her. And stop calling Stormy Daniels a liar. They keep saying it. Here's one. You are sounding so desperate. I didn't care who Bill Clinton had under the Oval Office desk, and I certainly... Shut up. The crime he's charged with is using campaign money. That's right. It's weird how who a man sleeps with is your biggest concern. Oh, and someone else wrote, let's see if I can find it. They said that I wanted to have sex with Trump. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even answer that one. I was like, yeah, no. Sex with Stormy is not illegal. So what if it can be proven? That was a lot of it. Who cares? They wrote, who cares? Well, I care because he lied. He tried to vilify her. He wanted her to pay him money for defamation. He lied. He's lied about everything. He's a liar. So anyway, you wrote Fatima. I heard that on the other side, everything says people, animals, plants. Yes. And when I hear people say that pets, animals don't go to heaven, I'm like, well, what is heaven then? Honestly, what would heaven be? Of course, there's animals on the other side. And I've had 2 dreams of heaven, probably more. But in one particular dream, it was like a spirit guide who he was trying to tell me something, and I was in this garden. And every time I tried to stand up to talk, the flowers would open up, kind of like Alice in Wonderland. They would open up.
Sorry, it's going to be loud again because I'm about to vacuum the kitchen.
Okay. And sing. The flowers would sing. And I've heard people say that about the other side, that the everything has music, and I can agree that's true. Okay, people forget things so easily. Yes, they do. But also they don't want to know the truth. So MAGA people clearly don't want to know. It would break through their the fantasy world they live in, where 45 is Jesus. And we've seen the pictures that they make of him where he looks like this golden, like the one where he was a fireman, remember? And nothing, he didn't look anything like him. They just can't hear the truth. So you provide it, but they kept saying, what crimes? What crimes? Like, watch that, read the news, and watch all the interviews. Listen to Michael Cohen. He's got receipts, phone calls, phone logs, texts. It's crazy. What crimes? What crimes? Like this, you can't prove anything to them. And they want to gaslight you into believing that there's no crime, and there clearly is. Why did Michael Cohen go to jail? Why is Weissman in jail if there was no crimes? So anyway, let's talk about, because I'll have to wrap this up. Let's talk about what's going on. So I said that Rashawn has delayed everything until next week, and I feel that was a weird thing with the universe too, where everything's just on Sunday, everything flipped, unfortunately. So 45 should be found guilty. I mean, I do feel, I picked this up last week while doing a reading, that there's one male juror who is kind of like MAGA, for entertainment purposes only. He may, like Slugworth, I saw that, like Slugworth and Willy Wonka, he may have been approached with a bribe. That is more like, he's just that, like the trolls that I've been reading all day, they're really hard to convince because they won't let the truth come in. They're so partisan toward 45, they can't allow truth because it hurts them to hear the truth. And so there may be the hung jury chance, there may be, but I do think there's enough evidence out there to find 45 guilty in his participation that he ordered. He asked, he ordered, he knew, he lied, he wrote the check, he knew. And it was to affect the election, which it did. Because if we'd known about this, it very well may have affected some of those religious voters who were pro-abortion, who voted for 45 and said, well, I'll vote for him. If they had heard that he was having sex with a porn star while his wife had just had a baby, and then did all these, and had her threatened, and all these things, maybe they wouldn't have voted for him. Maybe those in-between voters wouldn't have voted for him. So I think that he will be found guilty, but you never know. There could still be a hung jury. You never know. But no matter what, if 45 is found guilty, which most likely next Thursday is when it will happen, he will instantly appeal because that's how he survives. I didn't really lose. It's under appeal. And then he'll have to get the money, the bond, right? He'll have to do all that crap again. And create a bonding company under his own people and have Alina Alma mess up the signature so then it's delayed for entertainment purposes only. So what else? What do we have next? So he brought in the Red Tie Brigade because he didn't have any MAGA people show up outside the courthouse. What is it? Hi, Jamie. Or rather, he wore them because he was afraid of toilet germs or Lethal Weapon 2 style toilet bomb. Yeah. Do you mean like the diapers? Yeah, it could be the diapers. Yeah, I agree with you. And isn't that weird? That's so weird that Spirit told me over a year ago, and they showed me, they said, they showed Trump supporters wearing adult diapers. And I'm like, what? That's a weird prediction or a weird whatever download. And they're like, trust me. And part of it was they go to the rallies and they don't want to look like they're disloyal. So going to a bathroom at what's like a concert, like a rock concert, they would look disloyal. So they would just expel waste in this spot wearing adult diapers. But when I saw these pictures of them saying real men wear diapers, I was like, okay, my prediction came true, or my spirit guide's prediction came true, and that's what's going on here. Yeah, it's about Trump and his diapers. So it could be the germ thing. His germs are okay. So it's okay to sit in his own germs, but nobody else, especially at a courthouse. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Fatima, I think he's getting less and less supporters. I think so too. A lot of them turned on him with his behavior here with these trials. The E. Jean Carroll thing, and now this. There's a lot of people who have turned on him because, with his stance on the military and his lies. And let's face it, a lot of them don't have the stamina or money to be his supporters anymore and to support him financially. And also, a lot of them died from the virus, which you think a smart man would have protected his voters from the virus. But no, he told them not to wear masks. So what happened to them? He let For entertainment purposes only, he literally let his supporters die in a mass 100-year deadly virus. So it's really his fault that he doesn't have voters. It's his behavior, and he let a virus kill them. So, anything else? I'll just do a little bit more, than I gotta go. Let's see. Let's look at Xenus. This dog. Well, we won't know. Okay. So we have Justice Cannon. Here's the thing I was thinking. Eileen Cannon. If she dismisses the document case today, Jack Smith, and this is what I see, and I've heard other readers say this, Jack Smith is going to open up a new case based on these extra files found in the video of Walt Nauta moving them after he was supposed to turn them in under the direction of 45. There will be, maybe this is what happens. So he can't get Judge Cannon off the case. And I always feel like she was put there on purpose. It was not an accident. It was like the chess move of the century that she was put on this documents case. And then her job was to deny and delay. But see, instead of taking her off the case, what might very well happen, and I remember saying this months ago, there's going to be another case, maybe up in New York or Washington, D.C., another documents case. Jack Smith will be able to move it there. So maybe she's not going to be thrown off this case down in Florida. It's just there's a whole other case, and hers is dismissed by her own stupidity and all of that and actions. I really think there could be a new case with these new documents that they found. Oh, crap. Okay, so we know the Supreme Court is supposed to make their immunity decision right around now. They said the end of May. Will they do it? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to delay too. They're going to delay. I don't think they're going to do it. It's like, if they haven't done it yet, they're not going to. However, what they did do was an emergency. The Supreme Court did an emergency decision to make it illegal to have a gun license. Like, what is that? What is that? What's up with that? So they can make decisions if they want to. They're not going to decide on immunity. They're not going to. They're not going to do it. They say, instead of predicting, look at a pattern, and the pattern is they're not going to decide. They're not going to. Okay, Mitch McConnell called on everyone. Hold on. What's that? By the way, school got out today, so a whole bunch of kids are getting out of school this afternoon. Okay, go back. Okay, Mitch McConnell called on everyone to leave the Supreme Court alone. Okay, what else? In her ruling, Judge Howell questions how Trump could not have noticed he had highly sensitive documents in his bedroom. Notably, no excuse is provided as to how the former president could miss the classified documents found in his own bedroom at Mar-a-Lago. Goo. Yeah, how could he? He knew they were there. And Spirit showed me documents in Melania's underwear drawer and Barron's closet. Do you remember that? And they said they'll have to search her underwear drawer. And they said last night in the story that they literally searched her closet. They didn't say underwear drawer, but I saw that. I saw that they did it. So, and I do feel like he used her to move documents, like the missing Russian folder, to move it out of country, perhaps, for entertainment purposes only. The Senate has confirmed Biden's 200th judge. Well, that's good. Yeah. Oh, here's something. Midas Touch reported that Trump signed a firearm case and magazine in potential bond violation. I mean, will they hold him accountable? Will they hold him accountable? I hear, yes, they will. Letitia James is on it. She's on it. Anything else? I think that's about it for now. I think that they will find him guilty next week. I am sad that they delayed the trial till next week. You never know. There could be a miracle and it could still be decided tomorrow. I mean, Thursday. Yeah, tomorrow, Thursday. But I doubt it. I doubt it. That miracle is probably not going to occur. We got the shaft once again until next week. Is it true that Barron Trump is a Democrat supporter? I think that in secret, like a lot of kids his age, like the Gen Z kids, um, that he can't understand his dad and all the people's dad hangs out with, their politics, and he is much more like his Aunt Mary. And that's why when they said Barron Trump, we've asked Barron Trump to be in speak of the Republican whatever thing, and he was like, no, 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 and Melania's like, no, 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 no. It's because Barron had a fit, and he said, I don't want to. I don't, Dad, I'm not going to do this. And he didn't say I'm a Democrat. He would never say that to his dad. He's waiting to move out. He'll have to wait till he's an adult and see what will happen. His dad will say, if you become a Democrat, I'm not going to give you any money. He's going to be an okay person. He'll go to college. He may study some philosophy. And you know what happens when kids go to college, right? They're woke. They learn. They open up their mind. They learn just by osmosis of these other students around them. And he's going to do something like, maybe he's going to smoke pot one night with his friends, and he's going to hear, some Grateful Dead or what have you. And his brain's going to open up. And I feel like he's a good person on the inside, and he didn't really hang out with his dad in that culture very much because he was off in private schools and traveling and with his grandparents and all that. So, yeah, he has the ideals of a Democrat, of a Gen Z, whatever you would call it, progressive. So, yeah, but don't tell his dad because his dad will lose his mind. And I think that's about it. Anything else before I go? Because I have no money, but I'll take my kid to the mall because school's out now and they need some fun. And I can spend maybe $5 and that's it. A sitcom, yeah, I know. Like The Odd Couple. I've often thought, what if they had a Republican / Democrat Odd Couple show? Wasn't it Tony? Who was it? Tony? Can't remember his name. I'll look it up. The Odd Couple. Who was in The Odd Couple? Tony Randall and the other guy. So yeah. The Klugman, right? Klugman. That's a great show. In the summertime, you know how when you can just do whatever you want. And as a kid, Tony Randall, there you go. That's him. Funny guy. Tony Randall was hilarious. So in Klugman, so in the summertime, it was like I could stay up all night. Every night was Friday night. You stay up, you play outside. We would play tag and all these things and stay up as late as we could and catch fireflies. And I just remember waking up in the morning and it was warm and you could hear people mowing their lawn. And I'd go downstairs and eat Trix cereal. I don't know if you have Trix cereal. Yeah, Jack Klugman. There you go. Thank you. The fruity Trix cereal, and you'd watch sitcoms. So they'd have these reruns like Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie and The Odd Couple and I Love Lucy and Gilligan's Island and all day and Scooby-Doo. And in between that, you'd be running outside trying to get the ice cream man, or I'd walk into town and see my mother at the library and hang out at the library. So yeah, The Odd Couple was one of those sitcoms where it was really funny. It was a really funny show. And Tony Randall was perfect in that show. I love it. So they just don't write, let's admit it, they don't write shows like that anymore. And maybe it's because the world has changed and we just don't have a sense of humor anymore. Is that what it is? Because I don't think there's any show out there these days that has that style of satire. Yeah, but we do have PTSD and everything that makes it hard. So that's about it. Anything else? What's going on in the world? Again, Biden's going to win in November. I'm not worried about that at all. I just hate all this collective drama and trauma that we have to go through until then. It's not fair. It's not fair that we've had to have 45 haunting us every day of our life for the last number of years. I was thinking Barron is a reverse of Michael J. Fox, Alex B. Keaton, and Family Ties. There you go. A Democrat in a family full of Republicans. Yeah. And let's just say this. Michael Keaton, Michael J. Fox, who played Alex Keaton, sorry. Michael J. Fox, who played, and they still show those reruns, by the way. He was a pretty decent version of what I would call a real Republican that I wish that we still had. I'm not a Republican. I've never been a Republican. The first thing they do is they take away programs for kids, and they just don't like arts. They take arts out of school. They take away free food for kids at school. I don't like Republicans. They support nuclear energy, and I feel that that's, I don't like nuclear and whatever. They're money hungry. They're conservative. We don't have that Republican. That Alex Keaton was a nice Republican. I would love to have those regular Republicans again in our world. So yeah, but that was a great show. And you're right, they could do the opposite. They really could. Maybe somebody will write that. But he couldn't. Obviously, it'd have to switch around the names and identities. But yeah, that's. Anything else? What do you think of the Ghostbuster shows? What do you think of the new Ghostbuster movies with like Kate Cap? Isn't it Kate Capshaw? What's her name? Okay, political question. You go ahead. And yeah, I do have to go here soon. What's your question? La 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 la. What was anything else? You ask, and let me look at any other news going on right now in the world. Let's see. Hey, soul sister. Was Conan okay? Okay, was Conan O'Brien telling the truth about the president who died after eating lobster? Well, I've never heard this. I've never heard this before. Was Conan O'Brien telling the truth about the president who died? Well, Conan wouldn't lie. Thank you, Fatima. Fatima, thanks for being here. Blessings to you too. You have a beautiful day. You're going to cook dinner. See you next time. Have a wonderful evening, Fatima. Thanks for being here. And you never know when I'll come back on again. I might be back tomorrow. We'll see. Okay, so did Conan O'Brien, was he telling well, he doesn't lie. I don't think that he lies. So if he told the truth, it was because he read it and it was reported to him as the truth. And I know Conan reads a lot of American history, a lot of history. So he's kind of up on all of that. So I think that if he said that, it was because he read it, but he wouldn't lie about that. Unless he was just joking. And then that wouldn't be a lie. It would just be a joke. He's just joking. So I feel like he didn't, if it was a lie, if it wasn't true, he didn't mean it as a lie. It was either a joke or it was told to him as the truth. I'm not getting that it was true. I've never heard that story before. So yeah, Warren G. Harding. Well, see, let's look it up. Let's look it up. How did... So yeah, Conan O'Brien would have read it in a book, and that's, yeah. Warren G. Harding. Death. Let's look up death. How did he die? Okay, he most likely suffered a heart attack in the evening while his wife was reading to him. Well, people can get stomach flu from food and food poisoning, and then it can trigger a heart attack. It's kind of like Mama Cass from Mamas and the Papas. I remember I read on her before, it wasn't a ham sandwich that killed her. She didn't choke on a ham sandwich, but collectively, being overweight, so a ham sandwich along the line, collectively over time, it contributed to a poor heart condition. So I felt like she died from a heart attack from drugs and obesity. And I'll just say this, I love Mama Cass. I always felt she was extremely beautiful, and her voice is to die for. Like, I wish I could be her, besides the being overweight and unhealthy, and God bless her. Um, but yeah, so it's like that. He might have eaten bad lobster and had it contribute to a heart condition, but I feel like it, then it said it was a heart attack. And Conan did not mean to lie. He might have been joking about that. So, and you know how he is. One of my favorite skits is where Conan goes to the Abraham Lincoln Museum, I think in Illinois, and that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's just the funniest thing. Love it. All right. I think that's it. I must go. I must go. Thanks for being here. And you guys have a great night. Much love. If anyone leaves any questions afterwards, I can answer them in community, or I can answer them later or tomorrow. So, all right, have a wonderful night. And I'll do a video sometime. I want to talk about, what was I going to talk about? I kind of want to talk about when George goes to India on his own. I thought that was interesting. Okay. All right. Bye, Jay. Thank you. Bye. Love you. Take care. And peace, as I always say. Peace. Bye. Have a good night.